I'm here in the Threadless booth with Tony Moore. So you were one of the premier artists on their first kind of comics T-shirts kind of series that was announced last year.
It's true.
Yep. And
it was pretty awesome that Jill asked me to do it. I was pretty excited. Yeah.
So the T-shirts are here for sale. I've seen people wearing them all for the past year.
Yeah.
I know your art has been on T-shirts before, but to see the only place that they can get that art on a T-shirt, how's that experience been?
It's pretty cool. I mean, and to work with Threadless in general, like they've been a hit around my house for a long time.
Yeah.
So to get to work with them was kind of daunting because I've loved their stuff for so long, and they've got such awesome designers. So pretty cool to get to do an exclusive thing with them.
Yeah. So how challenging was it to kind of design a T-shirt to tell a story and not just like have a design?
Yeah, well, because it had to be. It couldn't just be a page that told a story stuck on a shirt, and it couldn't just be a shirt. So it was pretty cool. I mean, it was definitely had to stretch my out of my comfort zone a little bit as far as illustration and everything, because I'm not really like a designer as far as that stuff goes. So I tried to make it work. I guess it worked out okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, it's great. I mean, and all the past year at cons, see people wearing the shirts. It's really cool to see. So,
thanks, man. Thanks.
So recently you had a very big book launch along with Rick Remender with Venom #1 from Marvel.
True. Yeah. We Venom #1 just came out, and people seem to be digging it, and it's cool because we're having a blast doing it, and pretty amazed at the stuff that Marvel's let us do over the last couple of years. Let us just do the crazy stuff we're known for doing, and it's pretty awesome.
So, Venom is one of those 90s characters that often is the punchline of a joke, but you and Rick came up with a unique kind of take on it.
Yeah, it's funny because, when they asked me if I was interested in drawing Venom, my initial reaction was like, it's kind of played out, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, they told me the direction they wanted to take it, and it got really exciting all of a sudden, and then once I got into the book and was drawing Jack-o'-lantern and all this stuff, it's still kind of a monster book in spots. So, it somehow managed to fall right in my wheelhouse, and it worked out really well. I'm having a blast.
Yeah, no, the Jack-o'-lantern design and the Venom costume design, it's really interesting to see. You get to play the monster bit, but also with the military aspect as well.
Yeah. So I get to. Yeah, do like some Black Ops type stuff, which is pretty cool. I haven't really drawn a lot of that stuff, but I've always enjoyed it, as far as like genre stuff. So
cool. Excellent. So our other favorite book, Fear Agent, that you work with Rick Remender on.
Yeah, you guys have been good to us.
Yeah, we love it. It's coming to an end.
It is.
How does that feel?
It was heartbreaking. The cover to issue 32, I actually finished after I was done, putting in work on the book, and it dawned on me as I was finishing it that that's the last time I'm going to draw Heath, maybe ever.
Yeah.
And I was getting kind of weepy about it. He's been a big part of our lives for 7 years.
Right.
And so to see his saga kind of wrap up, even though it's exactly the story we wanted to tell, it is kind of heartbreaking to see it come to an end.
Yeah, well, it will always exist. I'm sure fans will still want sketches of Heath, and
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope he's the kind of character that sticks around and people, want to remember him. So.
Yeah. So also we have the Walking Dead TV series came and burst on the scene and exploded.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Seeing something you created get converted to TV, that had to have been a trip. Right?
It's incredibly surreal. Yeah. That image that they use on all the billboards and stuff of him riding into the city, it's exactly the panel from the book, and that one's really the most powerful one to me. That really I was taken aback by it every time I saw it because I saw it so often. We went out to LA for the premiere, and they had billboards on every main drag.
Yep.
And so to go from drawing it in in a spare bedroom at Robert's house. And the book hardly sold anything when we were starting it. And I remember even asking Robert if anyone was going to give a shit about it. Yeah. And because there wasn't a lot of horror stuff, and then it just exploded. And there's no real way I still haven't wrapped my brain around it. It's really crazy. Yeah.
So I imagine here at the con you get a lot of sketch requests and things like that. You ever get tired of drawing zombies?
No, I figure if I was going to get tired of them, I wouldn't have thrown in to do a zombie book.
Yeah.
But we did the book because it was stuff we loved, and I love drawing zombies and horror stuff because it's been my whole life pretty much.
Well, the great run on Punisher with the Legion of Monsters and stuff like that. That was Frankencastle, right? That was
just get a chance to dig into the crate and do all the crazy old horror stuff. Even for just a little taste, it was pretty cool.
I'm here with Jim Zub and Misty Coats of SKULLKICKERS. now this book came out from Image a little earlier, and it's been doing pretty well. It's a fun book. Why don't you tell us about it?
We've been having a ball with it, actually. So SKULLKICKERS is like a buddy cop movie meets Conan. So it's all big action, big crazy monster mashing, and lots of fun.
Yeah, you've got a big dude with a gun and a little dwarf, and they fight a lot of monsters. That seems to be...
That is the long and the short of it. They are killing everything in their path for as much money as they can get their hands on.
One of the things I think is interesting about the book is that it's not really serious sword and sandals kind of thing. It's more like rollicking, fun, crazy stuff.
We call it sword and sassery. I know it's really corny. We've just been having a lot of fun with the book. It's sort of like Army of Darkness in that sense of, you know that when you watch that movie, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell really love zombie movies and they love fantasy, but they're poking big fun at it, and that's exactly what we're doing too. We're just making fun of the genre while we love it at the same time.
Now, Misty, you're coloring the book. When you're approaching a book like this, how are you thinking about the colors in sort of this crazy world as opposed to something else? We'll put up art.
I usually look at it based on what's actually going on in the scene, like, day, night, trying to fit a mood to the color palette and try to, express that to the viewer through the colors that I choose. So it's really based on, like, what's actually going on. That's how I figure out the colors.
Cool. Is it fun to be able to do magic stuff that doesn't exist in real life, though?
Always. Always. It's the love of my life.
So how long is SKULLKICKERS going to be going for? You have a long-term plan?
Well, once Image let us know that they were more than happy to do ongoing, I just started to plan a little bit further ahead. I've got adventures in mind. I know sort of how it's all going to wrap up when it has to wrap up, but I'm not putting a finite end on it just yet. So we're heading into our second arc starting in May. Lots of urban adventure and trouble, and going to see how that all plays out. I sort of know where I want to go if we get third or fourth arc still rolling out of it, and how many fantasy tropes we can stomp all over.
Let me bring this up. This is a book that's fully color, it's well produced and everything, and I think it's been coming out relatively on time.
More than
relatively. In the indie comics area. True. This is how are you doing in that? Are you way ahead?
We're 6 for 6, so 6 months, 6 issues. We planned our arcs way ahead. Before we solicited the first issue, we actually had 2 in the can, and we just made sure that we built a very, very careful schedule to get it done on time. I feel really strongly about delivering the book on time, that if you're going to build a fan base, especially with a new property, you need to deliver what you say you're going to do. So there is a small gap between story arcs, but we built that into the schedule. Everyone knows that it's there, and we can promote the trade to build up the fan base on it, and then each arc I'd like to do on time monthly, and then a small break so we can get the buffer rebuilt and then do another arc. So
well, it's appreciated. We know about it. One last thing. Now, in the back of at least one of the issues that you put in a recipe.
Yes.
Is that going to be a thing that happens a lot?
Well, Image told me that they had 3 pages for letters page stuff, and I thought, most of the dialogue now is online. So having a letters page felt a little bit quaint to me. So I said, well, I've got 3 pages.
Don't tell DC that.
No. So, but I felt like, we could do something different every issue, which is a little bit more work, but I think it's something fun for people who are picking up the issues. They deserve something extra. So we had sketches in the back of one. We had like a frequently asked questions, jokes. We had the recipe. We had some role-playing game stats that we threw in the back of one. We had an art contest. I've got a bunch of ideas for the second arc. We're going to have paper dolls are going to be in the back of one. We're going to do a crossword puzzle. Just really weird stuff to, again, benefit the issue readers month to month.
I'm here with Terry Moore. We're here at Chicago. Is this your first show of the year so far, or have you been on the trail already?
I have. I've been to some things. I was in Tucson last week and somewhere else the week before that, in New Orleans.
Cool. So, but here's a first big show, one of the bigger shows early on in the con season. You've got some news. Early a couple days ago, you announced your next series after Echo, Rachel Rising. What can you tell us about Rachel Rising?
Coming out, first issue in July, and it's a supernatural story. I was captivated by this idea of a girl waking up on top of her own grave and what she would do about that.
Thought.
Yeah. But not in my mind. It was just a cheery little sunny day, you know. So I'm very captivated with this town with these supernatural characters and things going on, and I can't wait to get started on it. Yeah.
Well, it was funny because we were coming here to the show and we're like, great, we're going to talk to Terry about Echo. It's winding down, and then you announced this new book. When are you going to take a break? I mean, like you work nonstop.
You can't stop in this world. this crazy train. I'm on the Aussie train. You have to keep going. Yeah,
that's great. So Echo's winding down. The last issue's coming up in April. How has the Echo ride been for you?
It's been so fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I would get away with it to do Echo, a second series. I was worried when I left SIP. I was worried about being a one-trick pony.
Yep.
And now I've proved I'm a two-trick pony.
It's that second act. Well, it was funny because we were looking at you, we were looking at Jeff Smith, we were looking at Dave Sim to see what was the next thing, and it seems that you're putting Echo to bed. You nailed it.
I'm done. 30 issues
every 6 weeks, right on time, on schedule. It was
Yeah. Well, credit Robin for the schedule because baby needs a brand new pair of shoes.
So now you made me scream and throw an issue across the room recently in Echo.
Really?
When you revealed that it takes place in the same world as Strangers in Paradise.
I'm building a Terryverse.
You are, aren't you?
Yeah.
Now, was that something that you originally planned for, or were you like, screw it, I'm going to do it?
I warmed up to it. When I first thought about it, I went, could I? No. Could I? No. And then I just warmed up to it, and finally I just got the nerve. And in my twisted little pea brain, it makes sense.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And I like how it was just like 2 panels. That's all it was, I literally screamed. It was great.
Well, and in the issue 29, she comes back for a page because it really makes a really good triangulation about the end of the world.
Oh, yeah.
As they sit she doesn't know if the world's going to end that night.
Yeah.
And I realized that if I just touch base with her one more time, it really kind of puts a little more intensity on what the girls are doing at the Collider.
Yeah.
Because if they fail, what's going to happen to everybody else?
Exactly. Yeah, that gives it stakes.
Yeah.
That's great. I loved it. So, Echo movie project. Can you give us any updates on that? Or
it actually is doing very well.
Yeah.
He's assembling this little army.
Yeah.
Which is how it starts. And he got the fantastic writer who's very hot in town right now. A writer who, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say.
Yeah,
so
understandable.
Yeah, but I'm very
it is
excited.
moving forward. That's everybody.
Yeah, he's serious.
Yeah.
I think he's serious.
That's great. And what I think is great to see, but the movie project as well as so many fans welcoming Echo because, after Strangers in Paradise, the drama, the romance kind of thing, and then going a little more sci-fi X-Files-y thing, but everybody seems to have enjoyed it.
I'm so relieved that I could do something like that, and I hope the same with Rachel Rising as I go into a little different genre.
Yeah.
I'll have done romance, drama, crime, sci-fi, and then this supernatural.
Yeah.
The only thing left after that is poop jokes.
Hey. It might be the most profitable genre in the world.
And that'll be the biggest series of all. The 4th series is going to be all poop jokes.
So Rachel Rising, you're describing as supernatural, not as horror. It's a little. Is that
I'm
subtle?
softening the horror because I was coming out saying horror.
Yeah,
and
I remember. Yeah.
Everybody thinks slasher.
Right.
So it's more supernatural.
Okay.
It's more like it's less zombie and more Buffy.
Okay, that's definitely a good spot to be in.
Yeah.
So, and is that going to be in the Terryverse as well, or is that going to be a surprise?
It's all in the Terryverse.
Okay, it's safe to assume that.
Yeah, it all fits.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to see some art from it. Do you know when you're going to unveil kind of a look of it? Or?
That's next. Yeah,
Okay.
Within 2 weeks,
Okay.
I'll come out with a graphic image for everybody to kind of get it in their head what she looks like.
Yeah.
She's really cute.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
Yeah,
You're
she's not a dog.
That'd be an interesting direction to go.
She's easy to look at.
Yeah, excellent.
I'm here with Ryan Stegman, artist extraordinaire. Just finished up on She-Hulk. That book was a hell of a lot of fun, and people were really digging it. Did you have as much fun drawing it?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun to draw. It just unfortunately didn't sell enough to warrant a ongoing. But we had a lot of plans for it. But yeah.
I wasn't trying to start off with the bad news.
Yeah, well, it's the facts of the matter. So.
What's the thing about the industry that goes, it kind of doesn't say anything about how good a book is or how fun it is, but if it doesn't have X character.
I'm just happy that they gave it a shot because it was a lot of fun. And Harrison and I don't necessarily have names yet in the industry, and we got a shot to do a 4-issue series, and it'll be a nice collection and everything. Yeah. So
and it'll always exist. It's one of those stories that people will always be able to read.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it, and
And so now you've got X-23 going on, and like this is one of those things where like she's a young girl, and a lot of people don't draw her that way. Like, are you keeping that in mind when you're?
I try to. I think that it's really difficult because I kind of have you kind of learn a way to draw the females, and I've been drawing She-Hulks, who are really busty, So I've tried to thin her out, and then I don't make her very busty, and I try to keep her young. And
have you had to shrink boobs on a page before?
I have.
Like,
not on
like,
this
but
series.
on other things?
Oh yeah.
You think that's
when I first started, I did this series called Midnight Kiss, and I just drew the biggest boobs ever, and I didn't realize I was doing it. It was just like a tick. I wasn't very good yet, and I hadn't figured out that I was drawing, them that way. And so now when I look at them, I'm just like, oh my god! And they're very like breast implanty. They're like perfectly round. Yes.
I need a minute. No, but X-23, and it's a character like sort of in and out of the X world, and she's related to Wolverine. Like, do you feel like you're trying to bring in some of the elements of Wolverine when you're doing her, but also in like what is a young girl?
Oh yeah, I think that you really. I mean, she has her own personality, but when you're doing like the action poses and everything, you really want to. I mean, because she's basically a clone of Wolverine, so you really want to do the posing is very much classic Wolverine type stuff. Yeah,
which is that's got to be fun.
Oh yeah, it's just like I'm drawing Wolverine, but it's a girl, which I like drawing better anyway. So
right,
of course.
Yeah. I have to talk to you about this Deadpool cover. The inspiration of which is obviously Hammer, but you also add a little Flavor Flav in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where'd that come from?
Well, the Flavor Flav?
No, not that. The entire thing.
Oh, okay. Well,
Flavor Flav is from New York, I believe.
Right. Yeah. Initially, they gave me an idea, and they said they wanted to do something with the, because they're going to have that big Fear Itself logo.
Fear Itself. Deadpool.
Right, and we were going to do something where he's kind of squished in there. And so they said, that's what we want. So I turned in a layout of that, and they said, that's not what we want. And then they were like, they gave me some ideas like him hitting one of the carnival game with the hammer, and I was just, then it made me realize, I can do whatever I want as long as it has to do with a hammer. And first thing that comes to my mind is MC Hammer, so.
It's the right place to go.
Yeah. So then I only did one more layout, and I was just like, this is it. They're going to say yes to this, as long as it falls under the guidelines of parody, so. And they went for it.
And it was just like right away, you're like, this is the one, I know.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even do any more after that. I was like, yeah, they better like this.
Now, what did you use for Fly Girl reference?
The Fly Girls.
Was they actually Fly Girls?
No, it was the girls from the video. I've watched the video a few times, and
you know it.
Yeah, and they basically like, they all they've had on was stretchy pants and tube tops, so it's pretty easy.
What happened to those days, man?
Yeah, I miss them. Yeah, I miss the parachute pants too. Is that what they're called? Somebody corrected me.
No, because parachute pants were the zippy ones that were made of like a parachute-like fabric.
They call them posse pants or
Are
something.
they? I don't know if they were just hammer pants. That's what I've always known them as.
That'll work.
Yeah, it'll work. Oh, it was fun.
Yeah.
I'm here with writer Paul Cornell. Now, Paul, you just finished Knight and Squire, which was a 6-issue miniseries. We enjoyed it a lot. Now, we talked to you last time, right? It was about to start, and you were going to create 100 new characters.
Yep.
Did you create 100 new characters?
We created 130 new characters.
You overshot the mark.
Absolutely. We've got a list of all of them in the backs of issues 5 and 6.
And how much fun was that?
It was incredible amounts of fun. We now have an enormous section of the DC universe that we've created. I'm hoping there'll be an appendix to the DC encyclopedia that'll be entirely about the British DC universe, and it'll be that thick and will be as heavy as that 75 years of DC book.
You can have your own imprint, the Cornell-verse.
I think that's entirely a possibility and something that will be happening really soon.
Now, one of the things we really liked about the miniseries was that it seemed at the very beginning to be sort of light and funny and sort of very British, and then it became very dark, and you sort of pulled the rug out from under us. Tell us about your concept of the series to be like what were you trying to get across with the series?
Well, I think it's about how those concepts of seriousness and silliness are much more tightly bound together in British and European culture than in American culture. And I wanted to sort of say it's kind of a tightrope to walk. I wanted to say these are silly characters, but at the same time they're also really serious characters. And I think Grant had sort of established all of that already. And I just wanted to play on that really hard and see what we could get out of it.
And of course, the way to do that is to bring the Joker in.
Well, because he's terrifying and silly.
That's true. He's that sort of dichotomy between he's goofy and looks like a clown, and he's also psychotic. The Jimmy Broxton art was wonderful. Well, I mean, this must have been a very satisfying project in the whole.
Hugely. I'm blown away by what Jimmy brought to that project. We've got 11 pages of extra material or so. We've got a lot of pages in the trade with his designs, all sorts of stuff. With my, hopefully, the essay I wrote Janelle when she asked our editor, just how filthy is this book? And so I had to explain every single piece of slang to her.
So were they worried that you were slipping stuff through?
Yes.
I didn't even think of that. That's pretty fun. That's pretty funny. Now, you also have been writing Action Comics. You've been leading up to the big 900th issue. You've been telling the Lex Luthor story. How much? That's been a lot of fun, too. You're writing a non-traditional sort of Action Comics. Tell us about that book.
Well, I always saw it as a kind of supervillain team-up, but a punch-up every issue. And it's been a wonderful journey by, reintroducing these classic DC villains and showing them, putting Lex against them and comparing them. And it's fabulous. 900, we finish that story, we start that phase of Reign of the Doomsdays in the same story, which is enormous. Pete's drawing the hell out of it. It's going to be fantastic. And it's not one thing stops and then another thing starts. It's all of a piece. It's all the same story.
So now, the storyline's Reign of the Doomsdays, and we've seen the preview of stuff with Doomsday. Is it challenging to do Doomsday because there's a lot of baggage that goes along with the Doomsday character?
Oh, hugely. I think it's... A bar has been set, and it's really challenging trying to meet that, because you don't get more iconic than the death of Superman, really. Right. And so it's living up to that and absolutely not cheapening Doomsday. Making sure that Superman especially recognises him as the greatest threat. And playing with that has been fantastic.
It's been fun now to write Superman, because he wasn't in Action Comics when you were writing it, so now you're writing Superman. On top of the fact that you wrote 900, which is in mainstream comics is a huge, American comics is a huge number.
And that's such an honour. But yeah, I'm loving writing Superman. Thought balloons. I've given him thought balloons.
You're a maverick.
Absolutely. I think it's time thought balloons came back. They're one of the things that only comics can do. So why don't we do them?
Just see inside the head. So now, what's going on here? What's going on in this face business you've got going on?
I assume you mean the beard. Man, you're incredibly ugly. What's going on with that?
We've seen you before, and you haven't had the beard. You've been growing a beard quite famously. Tell us about.
Say the same about you.
Well, this is a manly beard. Tell us about. But my beard is just for me. This is a selfish beard. What is your beard?
I was bitten by Warren Ellis. And no, it's I got infected. It just suddenly appeared one morning.
So now you drink a lot more and you have a beard.
Yeah, but no, it's a beard for charity. It's a beard for Lent. I am growing my beard over the 40 days of Lent, and I'll shave it off at Easter. And I'm raising money for Shelter, the British homeless charity. Go along to my blog, paulcornell.com, Connor, and you at home, and you can donate money to fully see on a continual basis the silliness of my beard.
And what does your wife?
Different colours in there. It's Rasputin by the end of it.
What does your wife think of the beard?
She hates it with a passion. I said to her one day, some people give up sex for Lent, and she said, "You've got that beard. It's the same thing."
I'm here with Brian Bendis.
How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you again.
All right, cool.
So I'm glad I caught you, because this is you recently announced you're not going to be doing as many cons because you're a busy guy.
I didn't mean to turn it into a thing. Right. I was just packing for the show, and I realized this is probably the last show I'm doing for a while. Because, and again, I'm not leaving comics, no matter what Chris Arant says. I'm not leaving comics. First of all, I love comics. Secondly, I'm contractually obligated to comics for many years. So
and just to stick it to Brian Vaughn, right?
Yeah. And I can do it with the Brian Vaughn voice if you want. But no, the Powers TV show got greenlit. Ultimate Spider-Man show is in production. That involves a lot of traveling. And there's just absolutely so much I want to be away from my family. So I was like, well, I'm probably not going to be doing any shows.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. I mean, considering everything you got on your plate. And honestly, the fact that the dedication to comics, now that the Hollywood stuff is happening, is great.
Yeah, and again, I didn't mean to turn it into a thing. I'd realized when my first daughter was born that I took a couple years off and didn't say anything. I just didn't do any shows. And we have another one on the way as well on top of all this. So I just said, well, I'm probably not doing any shows after this. So I didn't. But for other creators, the best way to get invited to shows is to say you're not doing any more shows.
They just come flooding in.
Unbelievable offers. So, but I appreciate that and everyone's support. But I'll be online all the time. Like you won't be able to not yell at me. I'll be somewhere to be yelled at.
You're not gonna be quiet. I know.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got a lot to go over. So let's go right. So congratulations on Powers, the Powers TV show.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah,
it's awesome that it got greenlit. How's that going so far? I know it's early in the process, but
the wheels are turning pretty quickly actually. So we're shooting this summer. We have our dates. We have our budgets being put together. We have all kinds of schedules, and casting is underway even as we speak. And everybody's it's a really, really great team of really like-minded, cool people. Hey, turn so you can see Matt Fraction going to elevator. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. There's Matt Fraction. Post Fear Itself, twittering about himself. There you go. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, so we're actually having a great time. So
we were reminiscing at dinner the other night. It's been 10 years of Powers.
Yeah, I feel like Morgan Freeman in The Shawshank Redemption, where they let him out of jail and I don't know, what do I do now? What am I supposed to do? Yeah. So yeah, it's been. We were optioned, and this is a boo-hoo story if there ever was one. We were optioned by Sony for feature before our second issue had hit the stands, which is great news for us. But it was years and years of development, so now we're talking about a good 11 years. Right. About 3 years ago, it turned into a television deal, still through Sony. They've been amazing and supportive the entire time. And then when we sold it to FX, they have a historic long development thing. They take shows that you're seeing that are on now who were in development for years and years. That's what they do. They don't make a lot of pilots. They take their shit very seriously, and that's what was going on with us. And we got to the place where it was time to greenlight, and they were happy. So we have an amazing showrunner. His name's Chick Egley. He was on Walking Dead. He was on The Shield. He was on Dexter. He's an amazing guy. Our director is Michael Dinner, who directed the pilot for Sons of Anarchy and Justified and Bionic Woman. He's great, and we're off and running.
Awesome. That's great. So back over to the comics. Yeah. You knocked me for a loop with Ultimate Spider-Man recently.
Yeah.
Death of Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm worried.
I don't know how to say this without making you more worried. I wrote the end of the story this week, and I've never been as emotional ever writing. Not to sound like a complete fruitcake, but I was if it translates. Yeah. As I was writing, we'll see. But
so is this the end of you on Ultimate Spider-Man, or
we're not saying anything like that. No one said anything like that. It's my first rodeo. What are you talking about? So
it's just been great up to this run with La Fuente and Pacelli and everybody.
No, it's amazing.
Bagley back.
Bagley's back. Yeah, it's been an amazing run. What you can look forward to, if we can talk positively, and not about the scary stuff, is. Every Ultimates book is going to take you through a ride you have not seen before in the Ultimates. Every issue from now to the end is a nail-biter. Right. So the whole year. So
hold on to your seats and enjoy
the whole summer of announcements, creative announcements, character announcements, all summer long, that one after the other I think will be surprising and intriguing and hopefully... a huge payoff for fans of Ultimate, and there you go.
Awesome, very good. So speaking of Bagley, big announcement here at the show. You're doing a creator-owned book with him.
Yes.
What can you tell us about Brilliant?
It's called Brilliant. It's coming out from Icon. It's coming out in July. It's the first creator-owned book that me and Bagley have ever done together. Much like Scarlet was the first creator-owned book for Alex Maleev, this is the first creator-owned book for Mark Bagley. I'm thrilled that he's having this experience. It was what I knew it would be for him, which was like a man who's this far into his career having this great eye-opening creative experience. I told him before he left to DC, I want to do a creator-owned book with you. He goes, I'll be back. So, but I had the germ of the idea that I wanted to do with him. And we kept in touch over the years, and as it became more and more clear that he was leaning on coming back, I go, if you do come back, we can immediately get into this create your own book, and I really want this year to be about putting out these books that I've been gestating over the years, and also when Scarlet came out and it did so well with people's response and financially, because it's scary to ask someone to join you in a create your own book, because it's a risk. You don't know what it's going to do. You don't know. And for artists particularly, the time, it's time consuming on every level. And so but at the same time, even if it doesn't pay off financially, it's a huge payoff emotionally and creatively. And I wanted him to have that. Oh, but only if he wanted it.
Yeah.
He wanted it, so he was ready. So
I saw some pages. The look looks really interesting. It looks unlike stuff that we've seen from him so far.
Yeah, no, it's great. So I teamed him up with Nick Filardi, who's a colorist on Takio and a colorist on Powers, and they're coming up with this amazing look for the book. And it's a book about these college kids that have taken upon themselves to try to invent superpowers. They're all obsessed with turning science fiction into science fact, like so many of our great scientists have been in the past, and they go for it. And what happens if they do it? And not we'll turn into superheroes and become superheroes. That's we've seen that book. This is about how will the world react if instead of creating Facebook, they create the next genetic wave. How will it affect everything? How will it affect military, economically, socially? And more importantly, how will it affect the friends that we'll meet? These interesting characters, that clunking sound. How will it affect all of these things?
Cool. So also this year is a big year because Takio came out.
Yes.
Have you been happy? How's the response been for that?
I easily the greatest experience of my career. The hunger that literally you feel like there's certain readers in comics that it feels like they're walking through the desert and you don't even know that they're doing it until they come out of the desert and say, this is what I want. It was amazing. There's YouTube movies about it already, and people just very loudly supporting the attempt at making something that isn't the normal thing. And I know there are other books like it out there, but I having joined that group of books that are for that audience who are so supportive and so loving. I mean, the whole weekend already, it's been just with people coming up with it, and it's such a relief.
Yeah.
It really, I'm still not coming to terms with it, but I'm just overwhelmed by the positiveness.
Yeah, thing to be overwhelmed. It passed my niece's test. She was running around the house yelling Takio. And,
it's amazing, and my daughter's friends all do it, and it's really kind of great. So I can't thank you guys enough. You guys have been insanely supportive, and all the people on iFanboy who've been just very, very loudly screaming from the rafters, and that's truly supporting creator-owned books on every level. And it does. You see. I just go. It emboldens me to do more. Like, all right, let's get this Bradley book going. Let's do it. Let's make another one. It's absolutely the best feeling in the world.
All right, and so we know you're busy. So to wrap up, Avengers. Thank you for bringing back the Infinity Gems and giving us a great ride on Avengers. What's coming up this summer? How does Avengers get affected with all the Fear Itself stuff?
Cool things. Number one, we have Avengers 12.1, which is drawn by Brian Hitch, and it's almost double size because he's insane, but it's still $2.99. So you're getting a really good deal because they promised 12.1s for $2.99. Yeah. So it's a very big, thick issue of the Avengers versus the Intelligentsia, big Spider-Woman issue. And it also is a big prologue issue for a big, giant story that we're doing next year that me and Brian Hitch are doing that he's already drawing. So after Fear Itself, you will see this new Brian Hitch story.
That's a little taste of it.
Well, it's one of the biggest Avengers stories I've ever done. And Brian Hitch is rejuvenated, I guess is the word. Just you'll see. You guys will have art up to show. Yeah. Really beautiful stuff. We're really, really happy with each other, and I'm really I'm loving working with them. Just loving it. So there's that. And then with 13, it was drawn by Chris Bacalo, who I did the Dark Avengers annual with. Yeah. He's doing a couple issues inside the Fear Itself stuff to give Johnny the time to draw his issues, which are insanely huge. Yeah. And so he just wanted to make sure he could focus on the battles that are coming, what the Avengers tie-in issues for itself will be are pretty seismic. I don't think it's shock for people who have seen the Fear itself trailers and build-up is that it's almost all Avengers.
Yeah.
What happens at the end is the biggest change to the Avengers since I've been on it. It's a huge
Bigger
roster
than Disassembled, bigger than...
It's it is. It's a gigantic roster change. It's a gigantic change in even how the characters relate to each other. There's some big, fiery romances coming out of this with characters you know, but have never hooked up before. We'll be hooking up. Yeah, hookups.
Nice.
Hookups. So there's a lot. Yeah, I know it sounds vague and exciting, but there's not much I can say without ruining Fear itself. But I can promise you, it will matter and it will stick.
Awesome.
So Matt's my dear friend, and I'm really rooting for this one to just go all the way. Stuart and I worked together for years. This artwork in Fear itself is amazing.
Yeah,
it really is amazing. So yeah.
Awesome. All right, so one last question. Last time I'm going to see you probably for a little while as you're not doing many cons, so my last chance to ask you, when are we going to find out what was behind the door in New Avengers 26?
You got to let this go.
It's killing me.
No, this is like there's these things in life. There's no answer I could give you that's better than what's in your head.
Nothing's in my head.
I'm the artist. I ask the question. You answer it yourself.
And I lose sleep over it.
Yes, you do. How many years is this? What, 4 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're on issue like 170, and you're still on 26. Yeah. All right. I love. No. Listen, I love you. It's great, but I'm not going to answer.
Fair enough.
I want you to think about it. I wanted to plague you for the rest of your life.
It will. It's going to haunt me. One day you'll tell me. So.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. One day. Right. It'll be as I'm fading into my last thing. Tell Ron it was.
And then out. Yeah. Rosebud.
Rosebud. Yeah, it's rose. It's a sled. You open the door, it's a sled.
Awesome.
That's
So that wraps up part one of our C2E2 coverage. We hope you enjoyed all the great interviews we got. It's been a great show.
It's not over yet, though. Stick around. We got part two. There were so many interviews we couldn't fit it into one show.
So many.
Get over to iFanboy.com. You can comment on this show. You can watch all the other videos we have, the podcast, the written content, everything. You can write to us at contact@ifanboy.com.
Or you can give us a call on our voicemail line at 1-888-FANBOYS. That's 1-888-326-2697. And follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/iFanboy. So that's it for part one from C2E2. We'll see you next week.
Perfect.